The war was over. Earth had lost. Lieutenant Jung Kim stared out the window of the transport ship as it descended through Earth's atmosphere. After 5 years of fighting on the front lines, he was finally coming home. But this was not the triumphant return he had once imagined. The ship shuddered as it cut through clouds. June gripped his seat tighter. His uniform felt too loose now. The war had taken much from him. Weight, sleep, friends. And now, with the signing of the Galactic Concordat, it had taken Earth's freedom too. "Preparing for landing," announced the ship's eye. "Welcome back to Earth, soldiers. Welcome back to a defeated planet," Jun thought bitterly. The landing pad was crowded with families waiting for their loved ones. Jun had no one waiting. His parents had died in the Talak bombing of Seoul 3 years ago. As he walked down the ramp, a tall man with a slight limp approached him. It took Jun a moment to recognize his old friend. "Ta," Jun called out, his face breaking into the first genuine smile in months. Todd Park grinned back. "Look what the war spat out. Still in one piece, I see." The two men embraced briefly, patting each other's backs with the awkward affection of soldiers. "Barely," Jun replied. "What are you doing here? I thought you were working for the diplomatic court now." Tae's smile faded. "I am. That's why I needed to see you right away. We need to talk somewhere private." 30 minutes later, they sat in a small noodle shop in what remained of downtown. Most of the buildings still showed war damage, cracked walls, missing windows patched with plastic. Rebuilding was slow. The reparations demanded by the Talak hegemony were draining Earth's resources. "It's worse than they're telling people," Ta said quietly, leaning forward. "The terms of the Concordat were bad enough, but the Talak are adding new demands every week." Jun slurped his noodles, keeping his face neutral. "What kind of demands?" "More resources, more restrictions on our ships, and they're not leaving the outer colonies as promised." Ta glanced around before continuing. "They're still on Proxima Centauri II. The mining colony that reports Talak ships are actually increasing." "And our government says nothing?" Jun asked. "President Jin says we must maintain the peace at all costs. After 15 years of war, people want to believe it's really over." A large screen on the wall showed the news. The image changed to show President Jin shaking hands with a tall, gray-skinned alien. High Commander Vrax of the Talak hegemony towered over the human president. Vrax's 4 yellow eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of satisfaction among the Talak. "Today marks a new chapter in human-Talak relations," President Jin was saying. "With the additional security measures agreed upon today, we ensure lasting peace between our species." Tai snorted. "Security measures is a nice way of saying they're putting monitoring stations in orbit around Earth." Jun put down his chopsticks. "They're going to watch us like prisoners." "Exactly. And any human ships leaving Earth must now carry Talak observers." The door opened, letting in a blast of cold air. 3 Talak soldiers entered the noodle shop. The tallest one surveyed the room with his upper set of eyes, while the lower set focused on a handheld device. Conversations died. The shop owner nervously approached the aliens, bowing repeatedly. "They're everywhere now," Ta whispered. "Peacekeepers, they call themselves." Jun watched as the Talak rudely dismissed the shop owner and took a table without ordering anything. Their exoskeletons clicked as they moved. "This isn't peace," Jun said, his voice low but intense. "This is occupation." Ta nodded slightly. "There are others who feel the same. Veterans, scientists, colonists who've seen what's really happening. We're meeting tonight. What can we do? The war is over. We lost." Tae's eyes hardened. "The official war is over, Jun. But some of us think the real fight for Earth's future is just beginning." One of the Talak turned his head, 4 yellow eyes blinking in their direction. "Think about it," Ta said, switching to casual conversation. "I could use someone with your experience." Jun nodded slowly, understanding passing between them. The false peace wouldn't last, and when it broke, Humanity would need to be ready. Dr. Hannah Lee carefully placed the sample under the microscope. Her lab was one of the few still operating after the war. The government claimed it was for medical research only. That was partly true. Run analysis, she told her computer. Compare with human cell response. The screen lit up with data. Hannah's eyes widened. Increase magnification. Show protein binding. What she saw made her blood run cold. This was no ordinary pathogen. It attacked human cells in a very specific way. And only human cells. Save all data. Encrypt files, she ordered. Then she deleted the original samples from the main system. The Talic observers who checked the lab would find nothing unusual. Hannah had to tell someone, but who could she trust? June followed Ta through dark streets. A week had passed since his return to Earth. Tonight, he would meet the others Ta had mentioned. They entered an old building that had survived the bombings. It looked abandoned, but a hidden elevator took them underground. Security measures, Ta explained. The Talic have eyes everywhere, but they can't see through 20 meters of concrete. The doors opened to reveal a small room filled with people. Some wore partial military uniforms. Others looked like ordinary civilians. All had the same hard look in their eyes. "This is June," Tay announced. He commanded the 103rd during the Battle of Proxima. A murmur of respect moved through the group. The 103rd had held the line against impossible odds, allowing thousands of colonists to escape. A small woman stepped forward. June recognized her immediately. "Dr. Lee, Hannah Lee." She nodded. "It's been a long time, Lieutenant Kim." During the war, Dr. Lee had created vaccines that saved millions of human soldiers from Talic bioweapons. She was as much a hero as any fighter. "I have something you all need to see," Hannah said. She activated a holographic display in the center of the room. "This is what the Talic are developing in their so-called research facilities." The display showed microscopic images of cells being destroyed. "It's a new bioweapon," she explained in simple terms. "It targets human DNA specifically. Nothing else. Not animals, not plants, just humans." "How did you get this?" someone asked. "I have contacts in the colonies. A scientist smuggled this sample out at great risk." Hannah's voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. "They're planning something much bigger than we thought. This isn't about peace. This is about extinction." Silence filled the room. Then a tall man with a cybernetic arm spoke up. "President Jin announced more concessions to the Talic yesterday. Gave them access to our water reserves. Said it was for interspecies goodwill. Or maybe to help them contaminate our water supply," Ta said darkly. June studied the data on display. "How far along is this weapon? Is it ready for use?" "Not yet," Hannah replied. "My analysis suggests they're still testing. We might have months, maybe a year. Then we have time to act," June said. "But we need more information. And more people." A woman with pilot insignia on her jacket joined the conversation. "I'm Sue. I fly supply runs to the outer colonies. I can gather information, maybe recruit others." "I was a tactical officer," added a quiet man named Da. "I can help plan operations." Ta nodded. "This is how it starts. Small groups like ours are forming all over Earth and the colonies." Suddenly, the lights flickered. A warning flashed on the security monitors. "Government patrol," someone called out. "They're sweeping the area." "Everyone stay calm," Tay ordered. "The shields will hide our heat signatures." They waited in tense silence. June found himself standing next to Hannah. "I heard about your lab," he whispered. "They say you're working on human enhancement now." Hannah's eyes met his. "Not enhancement. Evolution. The Talic think they know human limits. They're wrong." The all-clear signal sounded minutes later. The meeting resumed, but with a new urgency. "We need a name," Sue suggested. "Something to rally behind." "Earth's vengeance," Da said quietly. "Because that's what we'll bring." No one disagreed. Earth's vengeance was born that night. a small spark of resistance that would soon grow into a raging fire, and the Talic would burn. 1 month after their first meeting, Earth's vengeance had grown. What started with 5 people now included 30 dedicated members. They operated from an abandoned subway station beneath Old Seoul. The Talic never came down here. They hated the dark, tight spaces. June stood before a map of the solar system. Red marks showed known Talic bases. There were too many. Another communication came in from Mars Colony, Ta said, joining him. The Talic doubled their security forces there last week. People are disappearing. June's jaw tightened. Any word from your contact in the government? Yes. President Jin will announce new food rationing tomorrow. The official reason is crop failures. But that's a lie. The Talic are taking our food. Across the room, Hannah worked in her makeshift lab. She had been forced to flee her official position 2 weeks ago when government agents, clearly working for the Talic, tried to arrest her. Now she worked with limited equipment, but her mind was as sharp as ever. June, Tai, she called. Come see this. They gathered around her workstation. A holographic display showed complex data next to a spinning DNA strand. I found something important, Hannah said, her eyes bright with excitement. Something about humans the Talic don't understand. She pointed to part of the DNA image. Our brains adapt faster than any species in known space. The Talic think we're weak because we lack their physical strength and exoskeletons. But our real strength is here, in how quickly we learn and change. How does that help us fight them? June asked. I'm developing a neural enhancer. It will help humans process information even faster, adapt to new situations within seconds instead of days. Sue, who had been listening nearby, stepped closer. Like how fighter pilots sometimes report time slowing down during combat. Exactly, Hannah nodded. But controlled and much more powerful. An alarm light flashed on the wall. Everyone fell silent. Day hurried over from the communication station. We just got an urgent message from our Luna base team. They'd found something on the dark side of the moon. He connected a secure channel. A grainy image appeared on the main screen. This is Moon Team. We discovered a hidden Talic facility in the Daedalus crater. The voice was tense, hurried. They're building something big. We managed to hack into their system briefly, downloaded some files before they detected us. Send what you have, June ordered. Transmitting now. But there's more. We found human prisoners there. Hundreds of them. The Talic are experimenting on them. The room grew cold with anger. Get out of there now, June said. Return to Earth immediately. Too late for that. Talic ships approaching our position. We'll hold them off as long as... The transmission cut to static. Silence filled the room. Then Sue spoke, her voice hard. We can't wait anymore. We need to start fighting back. June looked around at the gathered faces. They had been preparing, gathering information. But Sue was right. It was time to act. Die, he said. What's the most vulnerable Talic target we can hit? Day pulled up a map. They have a weapons shipment leaving Mumbai tomorrow. Light security. Mostly automated systems. Can we intercept it? With the right team, yes. June nodded. Then that's our first strike. Sue, you'll pilot. Take 4 others with combat experience. What about the files from Luna? Tai asked. Hannah was already analyzing them. Her face grew pale as she read. This is a genocide plan. The Talic are planning to release their bioweapon in Earth's atmosphere within 3 months. On the main news screen, President Jin appeared, flanked by Talic guards. My fellow citizens of Earth, I am pleased to announce increased Talic peacekeeping presence in all major cities. This will ensure our continued safety and cooperation. June stared at the screen, then turned to his people. We strike tomorrow. Earth's vengeance will show the Talic that humans aren't beaten yet. Little did the Talic know that their greatest mistake was giving humans time to adapt. and humans had adapted to war better than any species in the galaxy. The attack on the Talic weapons shipment was a complete success. No human casualties. 6 Talic guards neutralized. Enough weapons seized to arm 100 fighters. But more important than the weapons was the message. Humans were fighting back. 2 months later, Earth's vengeance had grown into a true resistance. Cells formed in every major city on Earth. Secret bases operated on Mars and Europa. Even as the Talic tightened their grip, the resistance spread like wildfire. June studied the reports from across the solar system. Attacks on Talic outposts had increased. Small victories accumulated. But it wasn't enough. They needed something bigger. The Talic are moving their timetable forward, Ta said, entering the command center. My sources in the diplomatic court say they've accelerated production of the bioweapon. How much time do we have? June asked. 6 weeks, maybe less. Sue slammed her fist on the table. We need to hit their production facility. Take out the weapon before they can use it. We don't have the firepower, Day said calmly. Their main lab is on their largest battleship, the Dominion. We'd need a fleet to approach it. Then we steal a fleet, Sue suggested. Her eyes gleamed with the reckless courage that made her their best pilot. Before anyone could respond, a loud cheer erupted from Hannah's lab area. The scientist rarely showed emotion, so this outburst startled everyone. June and the others rushed over. Hannah stood by her workstation, a strange device in her hands. It looked like a thin silver headband. It works, she said, her voice trembling with excitement. The neural enhancer works perfectly. You're sure? June asked. Hannah nodded. I tested it myself. The results are beyond what I hoped for. She handed the device to June. Try it. June hesitated, then placed the band on his head. The effect was immediate and shocking. His vision sharpened. His mind raced with crystal clarity. He could see patterns in everything. The dust motes in the air, the subtle behaviors of those around him, the potential outcomes of every decision. This is, he struggled for words. The human factor, Hannah finished for him. Our greatest advantage. Talic brains are rigid, unchanging. They rely on their technology and physical strength. But this enhances what makes humans special, our ability to adapt, to think creatively, to evolve our strategies in real time. June removed the band, blinking as his perception returned to normal. How many can you make? With the materials we have, about 50, but I need access to more advanced equipment to produce them faster. Day, always thinking of strategy, spoke up. There's a Talic research facility on Ganymede. According to our intelligence, they have the fabrication technology we need. Then that's our next target, Jum decided. Sue, prepare your best pilots. Day, develop the attack plan. Ty cleared his throat. There's something else you should know. The Talic Supreme Warlord, Kraz, arrived in the solar system yesterday. His reputation, he's known for his brutality. Good, Jum said, surprising everyone. It means they're scared. They're bringing in their best because we're hurting them. Throughout the solar system, the resistance was growing stronger. On Mars, miners sabotaged Talic equipment. On Europa, scientists leaked Talic secrets. On Earth, ordinary people hid resistance fighters and passed messages. That night, as they prepared for the Ganymede mission, Hannah found June alone, studying star charts. The neural enhancers will give us an edge, she said. But there's something you should know. Each use pushes the human brain harder. We don't know the long-term effects. You mean it could be dangerous. It could burn out the user eventually. But I'm working on making it safer. June looked at the star map, where red dots showed Talic control of almost the entire system. We don't have time for safe, he said quietly. The Talic are counting on humans to surrender, to choose survival over freedom. They don't understand what humans are willing to sacrifice when pushed too far. What the Talic had unleashed was humanity's darkest gift, the willingness to risk everything when backed into a corner. The raid on Ganymede succeeded beyond expectations. Sue led a team of 10 pilots, all wearing Hannah's neural enhancers. They flew captured Talic ships, approaching the research facility as if making a routine delivery. The Talic never saw the attack coming. Within 20 minutes, the facility was under human control. Within an hour, they had loaded the manufacturing equipment onto their ships, and before Talic reinforcements could arrive, they were gone. Back at their main base, Hannah wasted no time. With the new equipment, production of neural enhancers increased tenfold. Within a week, every fighter in Earth's vengeance had one. June called a meeting of all cell leaders. Some attended in person. Others joined via secure holographic links from bases across the solar system. "The time has come," Jun said, standing before the assembled group. "We've been fighting small battles, testing the Talic defenses. Now we strike in force." Day stepped forward, activating a holographic map. "We will attack 3 systems simultaneously: Earth, Mars, and Proxima Centauri." The plan was bold. Perhaps too bold. But with the neural enhancers giving human fighters unprecedented advantages, it might just work. "Each of you has your targets and objectives," Jun continued. "We strike in 36 hours. Any questions?" A woman from the Mars cell spoke up. "What about civilian casualties? The Talic have placed their bases near human settlements." "Our priority is minimizing human losses," Jun assured her. "Sue has developed flight patterns to draw Talic forces away from populated areas." Tai added, "And I've arranged for warning messages to reach our people before the attacks begin." As the meeting ended, Hannah approached Jun privately. "I've made improvements to the neural enhancers. They're more stable now, less strain on the users." "Good. How many do we have?" 500. Every fighter will have one, with spares for losses." The next day passed in tense preparation. Weapons were checked. Ships were fueled. Final plans were reviewed. Everyone knew what was at stake, not just their lives, but the survival of the human species. At exactly 400 Earth time, the attacks began. On Mars, resistance fighters targeted Talic communication centers, cutting off their ability to call for help. At Proxima Centauri, Jun himself led the assault on the mining colony. 300 human miners had been worked nearly to death by their Talic overseers. The resistance struck like lightning, freeing the miners and capturing the valuable ore processing plant. And in Earth orbit, Sue led the most daring mission of all. With 20 ships, she attacked the main Talic communications hub. Her pilots, their minds enhanced and reaction times tripled by Hannah's technology, flew in patterns that confused Talic targeting systems. "They can't track us," Sue shouted over the comms, her voice filled with fierce joy. "Their systems are programmed for predictable flight paths. Fly unpredictably." The Talic ships, despite superior firepower, couldn't land a hit on the human vessels that darted and spun in seemingly random patterns. At the communications hub, Tai implemented the second phase of the plan. While Sue's forces distracted the Talic defenses, he led a small team inside. Their objective wasn't to destroy the hub, but to use it. "We're in," Tai reported over the secure channel. "Uploading the data now." Across the galaxy, on every communication channel, images began to appear. The Talic experiments on humans, the bioweapon plans, the secret orders to exterminate humanity once the weapon was ready. The truth, hidden for so long, was now visible to all species in the Galactic Council. When the dust settled, Earth's vengeance had achieved victories on all 3 fronts. Talic forces were in disarray, their communications disrupted, their secrets exposed. On the Talic throne world, Supreme Warlord Kraz watched the reports with cold fury. These humans were proving more troublesome than expected. The time for half measures was over. He gave new orders. No more restraint. Crush them all. But he had already made a fatal mistake. He had given humanity time to adapt. and humans adapted to warfare better than any species in the galaxy. Supreme Warlord Kraz kept his promise. Within days of the human attacks, Talic reinforcements poured into the solar system. Massive warships, their hulls covered in weapons, took positions around Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies. "This is bad," Ta said, studying the sensor data. "Very bad." The resistance leaders gathered in their underground base. The mood was grim. Their victories had been impressive, but now the Talic were responding with overwhelming force. "We counted 57 capital ships," Day reported, "more arriving every day." Sue shook her head. "We can't match that firepower. Not even with the neural enhancers." Jun remained silent, thinking. Then he turned to Hana. "You said you were working on improvements to the neural technology. Where do we stand?" Hana's eyes lit up. She led them to her lab where a new device sat on the workbench. It looked like the original neural enhancer but with additional components. "This is the neural amplification system," she explained. "Version 2.0. It doesn't just enhance our natural abilities. It creates a direct connection between mind and machine." "What does that mean exactly?" Jun asked. "It means a pilot doesn't just fly a ship. They become the ship. Reaction time drops to near zero. The ship responds to thought before the pilot even moves their hands." Sue picked up the device, examining it with expert eyes. "This could change everything." "It's not without risk," Hana warned. "The neural load is intense. Users will experience time differently, seconds stretching to minutes in their perception. And afterward, there's a recovery period." "How long?" 24 hours of exhaustion, minimum." Jun considered this. "So we get one shot, one mission with this advantage." "For now, yes. I'm working on reducing the side effects." Their planning was interrupted by an emergency broadcast. On screens across Earth, Supreme Warlord Kraz appeared. His 4 yellow eyes blinked in sequence as he spoke. "People of Earth, your resistance fighters have committed acts of war against the Talic hegemony. Such defiance cannot be tolerated." The image changed to show a human settlement on Mars. Thousands of people lived there. "This is the consequence of your rebellion." A beam of light shot down from orbit. The entire settlement vanished in fire. A collective gasp filled the room. Thousands of innocent humans, gone in seconds. "The choice is simple," Kraz continued. "Surrender all resistance members within 3 Earth days, or another settlement will face the same fate." The broadcast ended. Silence filled the command center. "He's using our own people as hostages," Ta said quietly. "The Galactic Council will surely intervene now," someone suggested. "This violates all war conventions." "The Council has already issued a statement," Day replied, checking the latest reports. "They express deep concern, but propose no action." Jun stood. "Then we take action ourselves." "Hana, how many of the advanced neural systems can you produce in 2 days?" "With all resources focused on it, maybe 20. "Do it." "Sue, select your 20 best pilots." "Dad, we need intelligence on Kraz's flagship. Where it will be, its defenses, everything." "What are you planning?" Tai asked. "Something the Talic would never expect. A direct attack on their command structure." Across the solar system, other resistance cells received similar destruction. On Europa, the human science station was destroyed. On Venus, a mining operation vanished in fire. But the Talic miscalculated. Instead of breaking human resolve, these atrocities strengthened it. More people joined the resistance. Even those who had cooperated with the Talic now turned against them. Meanwhile, in deep space, a Meridian trade vessel made contact with Earth's vengeance. The Meridians, longtime rivals of the Talic, had been watching events unfold. "We have weapons," the Meridian captain told Tai during a secret meeting. "Advanced technology the Talic don't know about. We can provide it, for a price." "What price?" Tai asked. "When you win, and we believe you will, remember who helped you." As preparations for the strike on Kraz's flagship continued, Jum tested the new neural system. The experience was beyond anything he had imagined. His mind expanded, processing information at impossible speeds. He could see solutions to problems before they fully formed. In that moment, Jum understood. The paradigm had shifted. The Talic had superior numbers and firepower, but humans had something far more dangerous: the ability to transcend their own limitations. The news spread like wildfire. President Jin was dead, not killed by the resistance, but by his own Talic allies. His body was found in the presidential palace, bearing the distinct marks of Talic claws. More shocking was what came next. Analysis of his brain revealed Talic technology embedded deep inside, mind control devices that had been directing his actions for months. "They've been controlling our leader all this time," Ta told the gathered resistance members. "And now they've disposed of him because he was no longer useful." The revelation changed everything. Overnight, Earth's remaining government officials declared support for the resistance. Earth's vengeance was no longer a rebel group but the official human defense force. General Min, the highest-ranking military officer still alive, contacted Jun. "My forces are yours to command," he said over the secure channel. "What's left of them, anyway?" Jun wasted no time. "We need your remaining ships, and every pilot who can fly." With official backing came resources, hidden military stockpiles, weapons systems that had survived the war, and most valuable of all, soldiers and pilots with combat experience. In less than a week, Earth's vengeance transformed from a resistance movement into an organized fighting force. But they were still badly outnumbered. That's when Da presented his new strategy. The Talic fight in rigid formations, he explained, pointing to battle simulations. "Their tactics haven't changed in 100 years. They rely on superior firepower, not flexibility." "So what's your plan?" asked General Min. "A swarming strategy," Da replied. "Small, fast ships attacking from multiple directions, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted. The Talic combat computers can't handle that many variables." "That's suicide," one of the military officers argued. "Those small ships have no armor. One hit, and they're gone." Sue stepped forward. "Not if the pilots are using these." She held up one of Hannah's neural systems. "With these, we can react faster than the Talic targeting systems." General Min looked skeptical. "You want us to bet everything on untested technology." "It's been tested," Jun said quietly. "And it works." The meeting continued late into the night. Plans were made, refined, discarded, remade. By morning, they had a strategy. It was dangerous. It broke every rule of conventional space warfare, but it might just work. As preparations continued, Hannah made a breakthrough. She burst into the command center, her eyes wide with excitement. "I've done it," she announced. "I've figured out how to interface the neural system directly with our ships. Pilots can now control their vessels with thought alone. No manual controls needed." This was the final piece they needed. Without the delay of physical controls, human reaction time would be effectively instant. 3 days later, the offensive began. Human forces struck 3 major Talic bases simultaneously. But instead of capital ships meeting in traditional battle lines, hundreds of small, swift craft swarmed the Talic defenses. The Talic, expecting standard military tactics, were completely unprepared. Their targeting systems, designed to track large vessels moving in predictable patterns, couldn't lock onto the small craft that darted and wove through their formations. "This is impossible," a Talic commander reported to Supreme Warlord Kraz. "Their ships move as if they know our firing solutions before we do." Kraz watched the battle reports with mounting rage. "Use the planet killers," he ordered finally. "Destroy their colonies one by one until they surrender." The order went out. The massive planet killer ships, weapons forbidden by galactic law, moved into position. But human intelligence had anticipated this. Sue led a special strike team directly against the first planet killer as it approached Mars. 20 pilots, all using the most advanced neural systems, flew ships laden with Meridian weapons. They attacked not as individuals but as a single organism, their enhanced minds working in perfect coordination. The planet killer never fired a shot. The human swarm tore through its defenses and destroyed its main reactor. For the first time in the long history of the Talic hegemony, they experienced something new: fear. These humans were not just fighting back. They were transforming the very nature of warfare. And they were doing it with a ruthlessness that matched the Talic's own. The destruction of the Talic planet killer marked a turning point in the conflict. For 3 weeks, human forces won battle after battle. The neural interface technology, combined with DES swarming tactics, proved unstoppable. But Supreme Warlord Kraz was not finished. In a desperate move, he ordered attacks on civilian targets across human space. 3 small colonies were destroyed before the human fleet could respond. "This ends now," Jum said, his voice cold as he addressed the War Council. No more defensive actions, no more measured responses. The room fell silent. Everyone present knew what he meant. Until now, they had focused on protecting human settlements and disrupting Talic operations. They had not taken the war to the enemy's home. Operation Endgame, Jum continued, a direct strike at the heart of Talic power. On the main display, an image appeared. The Talic homeworld, protected by the most powerful defense grid in known space. "Impossible," General Min said immediately. "That system has never been breached. Not in 5,000 years of Talic history. It's never faced humans using neural interface technology," Hannah replied. She looked tired. She had been working without rest for days, but her eyes were bright with determination. Day outlined the plan. It was audacious to the point of insanity. They would take their newly developed tactics and technology directly to the Talic throne world. "It's not about destroying their planet," June explained. "It's about showing them they are vulnerable, that nowhere is safe from human vengeance." The preparations began immediately. Sue trained an elite corps of pilots in the most advanced neural interface techniques. Hannah made final refinements to the technology, pushing it to its limits. And in her private lab, she worked on something else, something she revealed only to June and the senior leadership. "A targeted virus," she explained, showing them a simulation. "It affects Talic neural pathways specifically. It won't kill them, but it will temporarily disable their higher brain functions. A humane way to defeat them," Tay observed. Hannah nodded. "We don't need to exterminate them to win. Just show them that we can." 3 days before the planned attack, Supreme Warlord Kraz made a fatal mistake. His forces captured a small human transport ship. Among the prisoners was someone he recognized: Ta. "The human diplomat," Kraz said, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as Tai was brought before him. "You were at the peace negotiations." Ta said nothing. "Tell me what your people are planning," Kraz demanded, "and I may show mercy to your remaining colonies." Ta finally spoke. "You still don't understand humans, do you? You think we're weak because we sought peace. But there's something you should know about humans." "And what is that?" Kraz asked mockingly. "We tried peace. We wanted it to work. But when that failed, we unleashed something far more dangerous: our capacity for ruthlessness." What Kraz didn't realize was that Tay's capture was no accident. Every word of this conversation was being broadcast across all Talic communication channels, thanks to a hidden device Tay carried. The next day, Operation Endgame began. The human fleet, now strengthened with Meridian weapons, approached the Talic home system. At its heart was Sue's special corps, pilots using the most advanced neural interfaces, flying ships that responded to thought itself. But the true genius was what Sue called the Phantom Fleet technology. For every real human ship, their systems projected 1,000 false sensor images. The Talic defense grid, designed to target conventional vessels, was overwhelmed by the Phantom signatures. "They can't tell which ships are real and which aren't," Sue reported, Her mind connected directly to her fighter and to the command network. Their defense grid is firing at shadows. As the human fleet pushed closer to the Talic homeworld than any enemy had ever reached, Jun sent a system-wide message. "This is Earth's vengeance. We have penetrated your defenses. We have a virus that can disable your neural functions without killing you. We don't want extermination. We want freedom. End this war now, or face the full measure of human ruthlessness." For the first time in the history of the galaxy, the Talic throne world faced an enemy at their doorstep. Supreme Warlord Kraz refused to surrender. Despite the human fleet penetrating their defenses, despite the threat of the neural virus, his pride would not allow it. "Prepare the doomsday device," he ordered his commanders. "If we cannot rule the galaxy, then the humans will not live to enjoy it either." Deep within the Talic command station, a weapon of unimaginable power began to charge. It would send a focused energy wave through the jump gates, directly to Earth. The planet would be reduced to ash in seconds. Jun, leading the main assault force, received the warning from Ta, who was still in Talic custody. "They're targeting Earth." Ta's message said, "Some kind of super weapon. You have hours, maybe less." Jun immediately contacted Hana and Dai, who were coordinating from the fleet's command ship. "Can we stop it?" he asked. Hana's voice was tense. "Not from here. Someone needs to get inside the command station and disable it directly." "I'll go," Jun said without hesitation. "It's suicide," Dai warned. "The station is heavily guarded." "Then I'll need the best pilot we have." Su's voice came over the comm. "Already on my way to pick you up." Jun joined Su in her advanced fighter. Both wore the latest neural interfaces, their minds linked directly to the ship systems. Two humans against an entire Talic command station, Su said, a grim smile on her face. "Sounds fair to me." They flew toward the massive station, dodging defensive fire with impossible grace. The neural interface allowed them to react instantly, the ship moving as if it were part of their own bodies. Meanwhile, Hana worked frantically to finalize the neural virus. If they could deploy it throughout the station, they might disable the Talic long enough to reach the doomsday device. Dai coordinated the main fleet, keeping the Talic defense forces occupied. His swarm tactics continued to confuse and frustrate the enemy ships. Su managed to dock at an emergency airlock, using a blind spot in the station's defenses that her enhanced perception had identified. "We're in," Jun reported, heading for the central core. Inside the station, chaos reigned. Talic troops ran in all directions, unprepared for an enemy boarding their command center. Jun and Su moved with enhanced speed and awareness, their neural interfaces processing information faster than normal human minds could. They fought their way toward the central chamber where the doomsday device pulsed with growing energy. Talic guards fell before them, unable to match their speed and coordination. Finally, they'd reached the massive doors to the central chamber. Beyond was the doomsday device, and Supreme Warlord Kraz himself. "Release the virus," Jun ordered. Hana, linking remotely through their neural interfaces, activated the weapon she had created. Throughout the station, Talic soldiers and technicians began to collapse, their neural systems temporarily overwhelmed. The massive doors slid open. Kraz stood alone by the controls of the doomsday device, his four eyes glaring with hatred. "It's over, Kraz," Jun said. "Your troops are incapacitated. Your fleet is in disarray. Surrender." "Never," Kraz growled. "I would rather die than submit to humans." "That can be arranged," Su said, raising her weapon. But Jun held up his hand. "No, we're not like them. We don't kill when there's another way." Kraz laughed bitterly. "Weak until the end." "Not weak," Jun replied. "Just human. We can be ruthless when we need to be, but we choose not to be cruel." The standoff was interrupted by a fleet-wide transmission. The Galactic Council had finally acted. With evidence of the Talic's illegal weapons and attempted genocide, they had voted to intervene. Supreme Warlord Kraz, came the official message. You are ordered to stand down by authority of the Galactic Council. Faced with both human forces and now Council sanctions, the remaining Talic commanders surrendered. Kraz, seeing his defeat, lunged for the weapon controls in a final desperate act. Sue fired first, her enhanced reflexes saving Earth from destruction. In the days that followed, a new peace was negotiated, not the false peace of the Concordat, but a real one based on mutual respect and clear boundaries. The Talic hegemony, which had ruled the galaxy for millennia, was dissolved. In its place arose a new order, with humanity taking its place among the galactic powers. As June stood on the observation deck of the human flagship, watching the stars, Hannah joined him. "We did it," she said quietly. "We saved our species, and showed the galaxy what humans are capable of." June added, "Both our ruthlessness and our mercy." Across the galaxy, a simple message spread. The war is over, but remember what humans are capable of when threatened. It was a warning no species would soon forget.